Why? I mean, did I just hear you whisper in the microphone? I don't even know who you were talking to. We've got a black one today.
Hey! And we are cooking.
David Sampson is with us here. And
the opposite.
I want you put it on the poll. Is David Sampson the opposite of a black guy? I want to talk about whether or not David Robertson has now entered the pantheon of most hated local sports people. He got here and so quickly has torched their season. This is a very good pitcher that a lot of people wanted, and he keeps blowing things. Last night, one of the best hitting teams I've ever seen in plate discipline was getting no hit, and then David Robertson just comes into the game at the end and is terrible.
You know his ERA is 3 full runs higher than Heath Bell's was as a Marlin?
Okay, and this allows us to bring in David Sampson and talk about unpopular players in the history of this sports town because their season is unraveled, and they really did have a chance because everyone is so bad in that league after Atlanta and the Dodgers. What do you make, Dave, of the fact that everybody wanted this closer? Most contenders would have wanted this guy. The Marlins got him, and it's been a disaster.
It was only a month ago when we were on this show saying what a great move by the Marlins, bringing in David Robertson, doing an intra-division trade. What a break that the Mets are selling, the Marlins are buying, everything's coming up roses. And then they realized that it was just David Robertson and that he was probably outperforming with the Mets. And then when it mattered, he just wasn't able to do it. And the thing is, it still was a good trade. If you're a fan of the Marlins, you want them to bring in Rodney. You want them to bring in Robertson. You want them to try. It doesn't always work. So I'd love to blame Jeter, although in this case I couldn't even. I'd love to blame Kim or Bruce or anybody, but I don't. I think it was a great move by the Marlins. Their offense was always suspect. And when you've got closers who are tight games and they've had such a great record in one-run games, it's likely not sustainable. But it all feels like it's falling on Robertson's head, and it really shouldn't.
I wonder if you can explain something to me organizationally about the Rays, because the plate discipline of that baseball team is something that is super uncommon. I cannot tell you, David, when that team, any player on it, argues a call on a ball and a strike, and then they go to the robot replay and show you the box, they're always right. The umpires are always wrong, and their players are always right. I've been watching it all season. Can that be taught? Can that kind of plate discipline be taught?
I feel like you're speaking a bit in hyperbole. I'm not sure you've been watching the Rays all season.
David, I've watched, no lie, 80 of their games. I'm telling you, I have not seen plate discipline like that.
I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. We can't go to break yet. You've watched 80 Rays games.
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
You must be really
because
bored.
obviously that's
You're
the statement
gambling
that
again.
No one can prove you wrong except one person, and that person's not me, but that's preposterous. That said, you can't change or absolutely in any way possibly teach an eye, but it is important to know whether or not your players have that eye. And there are certain players on your team, and it's not all of them, that when they argue balls and strikes, you're going to back them up. And certain players, when they argue balls and strikes, you're not going to back them up. And that's the same with a replay. We would have a list of players who, when they say they're safe at second, we are going to go to a challenge. But when other players say they're safe at second, we're going to just continue on because those players are delusional. They always think they're safe. So what the Rays do better than any other team is they're willing to have 25 guys who no one's ever heard of. And that's something that we were never willing to do. We wanted names. We wanted brands. We thought that would help with attendance. We thought it would help with wins. But the Rays are just more than happy to churn the roster, to have people come and go, and they always have another player who can throw 98. It really is an amazing job by the Rays, who are one of the most successful and hated teams by the union in the history of baseball.
The Marlins always going after the big names. I feel like we had plenty of rosters that no one knew anyone.
No, which years? We
you had
some
Dan
young...
Uggla being a big Q rating guy.
No, we had Dan Ugla backing up Pokey Reese at best. But he was a Rule 5 guy. But Dan Ugla ended up being, first year not a name, but the second year his name is Ugla. People knew who he was.
Salute to Pokey.
Tell me about what you see happening with the Arizona Cardinals. It seems like a preposterous mismanagement of their franchise in football that I'm sort of stunned by, David, because it wasn't but a year and a half ago that team had the best record in football. And since, it's been an organizational calamity. What do you make of their latest controversy, burner phones and secret contacts with executives who are supposed to be suspended?
This is Roger Goodell's worst nightmare. There is a lawsuit going on between the former president of the team and the owner of the team and the NFL, and it's gone all the way to arbitration where there are hearings and there are people under oath who are getting deposed, which means you have to not lie and you have to say what actually happened. And what this guy, John McDonough, is trying to prove, I want to say Will McDonough, but I think it's John McDonough.
No,
Will may be his father.
Will was the dad, yeah.
Okay, so John is claiming that a lot of nefarious things took place, and the one that was of the most interest is when there was a suspension because of a DUI or something that happened with the GM, that somehow he Bobby Valentined it and was still involved. And the way he did that was through a burner phone, and that the owner, Bidwell, was culpable in this. So no one knew the truth until the former coach, the erstwhile fired coach, Steve Wilkes, takes the stand and says, by the way, I had a burner. And I was told in the burner, here's the people I can call. One of them was the owner, and one of them was the GM, who you're not supposed to be able to speak to. And the GM would call him, and he was supposed to answer. So you had this coach walking around with two phones. It's hard to imagine. It's a total violation of the rule. And this is McDonough not trying to get Bidwell removed a la Sarver. It's trying to get himself paid because he views his career has been cut short and he's lost money by the things that Bidwell has said about McDonough. It's a terrible he said, she said soap opera. But from Goodell's standpoint, he has no choice but to discipline the Cardinals now. And that is something clearly that would not have happened had there been a settlement. So Bidwell not willing to settle with McDonough is going to cost him even more now because the truth has come out in these hearings.
Chris Cody, can you look up for me, please? They mentioned Will McDonough, and I think I have this right. His father, I believe, one time in the Patriots locker room, knocked cold a Patriots player and left him hanging in a laundry hamper after hitting him. Like, just drop. I'm pretty sure that was Will McDonough.
Will McDonough was my size.
Yeah, Will McDonough was a feared, like, in terms of his pen, not physically.
There was somebody that reported on the Boston Football Patriots who left, I think it was Raymond Claiborne, in a laundry hamper because he punched him in the mouth. I want to know, before the end of this segment, I'd like to know if that was Will McDonough or not.
I'm going to guess it wasn't Will McDonough.
I'm going to guess it was Popeye
go with you,
the Sailor
Amin.
Man.
Juju, while we're here, by the way, because I meant to get to this yesterday and I failed to do so, you were complimenting David Sampson on his shirt, the shirt that he was wearing, and he's wearing a similar one today. And I wanted to do a live spot for David Sampson's merch store. Can you do that for us on behalf of, you are endorsing the style of David Sampson. You are saying that he looks crisp and that shirt does look nice. Can you do a live spot for us on his, how you can get David Sampson merch?
My brother, he always looks crisp, by the way, but I know what you're thinking at home. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. No, it's the David Sampson Collection T-shirts / polos that he has right now available at davidsampsonpodcast.com. Get there, meet me there. No, do not meet me there. Beat me there. Got D-word.
I got to tell you, the reason why I have not promoted it until now is that my deal with Metalark said that you were in charge of my merchandise for 90 days. And if you didn't do anything in the first 90 days, then I get control of it and I get all the money from it.
Got their
and
ass.
For 90 days, you didn't do one goddamn thing. Nothing.
Yeah.
And on day 91, I opened the merch store.
davidsampsonpodcast.com today.
Jeremy, have you found anything on Will McDonough?
It happened September 9th, 1979, after the Patriots blew out the Jets. In 2008, Bruce Allen at Boston Sports Media Watch revisits the incident. After the game, Claiborne was snapping at writers and bumping into them on purpose, and legendary writer Will McDonough of the Boston Globe took exception, saying, "Hey, Ray, there's no need to do that." Claiborne reacts by jabbing his finger into McDonough's face, poking him in the eye. McDonough then punched him twice, knocking him into a laundry cart and taking down a number of people
You could
with
just
him.
read the story, you know.
Nope. No, I can't.
That was strangely a broadcasting affect that was unnecessary.
Will
It was
done.
totally necessary.
Guys,
This is a
guys.
legendary fight.
He's a theater kid. Come on.
Come on.
10 wildest moments in sports history. This is on True TV.
It's titled 5 of the Best Fights in Boston
There it
sports
is.
history.
And that's the name of the True TV show,
That
too.
made the top 5.
Amin, we have to apologize to Dan.
I mean, look, I was wrong.
I was wrong.
I was wrong.
That's
Dan.
so
I
hard
know-
for media members to
yeah.
say, congratulations, gentlemen. You mocked me and you were wrong. Will McDonough is a savage. I long for the day when a reporter could walk into a locker room. Can you imagine? I walk in and Christian Wilkins is in a laundry hamper because I've hit him in the face. That's the way it should be.
See,
Who would you have hit, Dan?
Nobody. I'm not. Why would I hit?
come
Why
on.
would I hit anybody?
there's got to be someone who got you mad, but you thought better
No,
of
I was
it.
scared of all of them. What are you kidding me? What do you?
You're 3 times the size of Will.
I am not 3 times the size of some of the people in the Dolphins locker room.
That's true.
Can you guys
Martin Grammatica.
can you guys tell me whether you think that Jeremy is trying to get into the Chris Whittingham lane of over-enunciating broadcaster guy? Because Whittingham has climbed. He's climbing in the industry. He's got a monster. Mike, what's the game he's got? This is the biggest game he's ever called, right? He is absolutely skyrocketing on rocket fuel to the top of the industry.
He is getting a shot as lead voice for Paramount Plus's Serie A coverage. He's got Roma versus AC Milan. That's Romelu Lukaku's Roma debut. Jose Mourinho on the touchline. Pulisic killing it for AC Milan. It's a monster game he's got.
Oh, did you not see, by the way, Pulisic changed his pronunciation of his name? He backed down real quick over there in Europe. Like, yeah, maybe I guess it is Pulisic.
He was in
Yeah.
Europe before.
I know, but
I mean, you have talked a lot, and Tom Haberstroh, I think, is the nation's authority on some of the reported, researched coverage of NBA referees and how it is that it is easy for them to manipulate results. The Eric Lewis story, where it appears that Eric Lewis is a big fan of the Celtics, and there is photographic proof of him wincing when Jimmy Butler scores. What do you make of the Eric Lewis story, and what details do you think the audience needs on this that are most informative?
So we talked about this when this story first broke, end of May 31st episode of Basketball Illuminati called What About Bob. You can look it up because we interviewed the guy who exposed the actual burner account. And here are the details. Here are the particulars. Eric Lewis's family, I believe, is from New England. His family are Celtics fans. There is no evidence that Eric Lewis is a Celtic fan. I know there's the picture of Jimmy Butler making the layup and him kind of rolling his eyes or whatever, but there's a million things that happen in an NBA game. Like, oh, the Heat scored on my favorite team. That's not how anyone in the NBA kind of responds. So I'm probably thinking it's probably because Jimmy said something or argued or said, oh, that's another non-call or whatever, and he's probably reacting to that. But the thing that we are fairly certain that Eric Lewis was guilty of was that he had a burner account. And so before the show, I was talking with Jeremy, and Jeremy was saying, oh, yeah, and Eric Lewis, the Celtics are 36-2 when Eric Lewis is reffing the game. And I said, well, no, that's a ball sack. We exposed that on Basketball Illuminati. That was a fake stat. But Jeremy, here's where it becomes important.
Hey, yo.
That piece of misinformation that went crazy viral is the reason why people found out that Eric Lewis had a burner, because his burner jumped in and was like, that's not true, and that's a made-up stat, and which is, I mean, the burner was accurate, but it's just like, why is this happening? And so we had, like I said, the guy who exposed it, and he was the one that said, wow, this random Twitter account sure does love Eric Lewis a lot, because it just kept going on and on and on. And so he started doing the homework and started looking up shared things, shared handles and all that. And sure enough, this Twitter handle follows like Bethune-Cookman volleyball. Well, why does that matter? Because I think Eric Lewis's wife is the head coach of Bethune-Cookman volleyball.
Okay, we've established it's obviously his burner account.
But no, they came out and said no, it was his brother. It was his brother.
David, thank you. No, but I'm just okay. It's obviously someone in the Turner family. We've established the details on that. Now, what are you laughing about, Samson?
Because what you want him to say is, why does this matter? Like, what's the story here? And we're 3 minutes in and we haven't gotten there. But Amin, it's a slow burn. Can you get us across the finish line?
I just told you what the story was.
No, not the backstory, not the fact that he has a burner account. What happened with this settlement
and
with the fact that he retired and the fact that the investigation is now over and why that is now so important.
You're right, guys. I should have led with Eric Lewis retired. Who's Eric Lewis? No, that's not my job. You guys got to go figure that out. Sorry for giving exposition to an audience who may not heard of the name Eric Lewis. I apologize. That's my fault. I give too much information. People just want to create their own backstories based off of just the name. Eric Lewis, second man on the moon. No, wrong, not him. Develop.
But you can start at the end and then work your way back.
No.
You can start with the fact that Eric Lewis, an NBA referee retired, who was being investigated by the NBA, was likely going to be punished in a very embarrassing situation that Adam Silver wants no part of, given what's going on with gambling and all the other issues that he has to deal with competitive integrity. So they found a way to get him to retire. What we haven't heard yet is what incentives he was given to retire, because it wasn't because he aged out of the NBA.
Sounds like someone making a lot of leaps there. They found a way to get him retired, and what incentives? I don't know any of that.
You think he just retired out of nowhere because he'd had enough?
I think he'd rather retire than have the details of the investigation get pursued.
And so would the NBA.
Sure, but I don't know that he was coerced or cajoled into retiring.
But it's a pretty big story if you link those two things. And for all the things you gave context to at the beginning of this segment, one of the things you didn't give context to that you just said was that's a ball sack. You said
Zagak.
you said that's a ball sack, and the audience heard that and may not know
Oh,
what
I'm
the
sorry.
hell that
I'm
means.
sorry.
I'm just
Oh,
saying.
Oh, no. According to you guys, someone else has to figure it out on their own.
No, this is
sorry.
what-
You guys are supposed to know everything.
Look.
I just have to give you the most recent news that someone got ball sacked. That's all I gotta say. I don't have to explain what ball sack is because that's too much exposition. Oh, why don't you get to the point of the story?
I don't know who that is. Who is that? Who are you
I prefer
impersonating?
that over the whiny voice. Yeah, do that one more.
I do like that one. I do like that one. Jessica mentioned
Part of the story. It was Tom Brokaw.
there's a little Lou
Getting
Dobbs.
down to the bottom of the story.
There is so much going on with people with microphones in your studio right now, Dan.
Jessica
quite
pointed
something.
out, and she didn't even use the microphone. She was
That
just
was,
saying it.
that was quite the observation, by the way. You really added a lot to the show. There's quite a lot going on with microphones in that studio.
She was saying to me that Amin has now set a record for apologies by a media member in a single segment. You have apologized 3 times for 3 different things. Also something, and I feel this is probably an off-air conversation, but since we're here, since you've entrusted your career to Meadowlark Media and your growth, I will say that I have noticed, because you are doing so much work, talking so much in so many places, and earning that money that you're being paid, that you have now been afflicted with something that has afflicted Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. You talk too much. You're talking too much.
It did take you 4 minutes to get to the point, brother. I love you. You feel me?
Hypocrite man! No, that's Juju flying out of the sky to point out anyone's hypocrisies. He just pointed out mine. I also talk too much while telling you that you've talked too much.
Alert.
We need imaging for it. That's not the good imaging. We need to do...
I deeply apologize.
I don't need Tom Brokaw again.
He's here.
That is
forevermore.
not... It is not necessary.
Henceforth.
Is there anything that you can give us, Samson, on, and we're going to have someone on later in the show to talk about the business mechanics of this, what happened with Barstool yesterday? Because the story is that Penn got out of the Barstool business because they got in to business with ESPN, and David Portnoy, the founder of Barstool, got his company back, got $500 million, and then got his company back for $1. And everyone thought to themselves, I was confused by it, I don't understand the business this way, that this was the deal of a century for Portnoy. You get $500 million and you get your company back. But then he laid off 25% of his staff yesterday. So explain to me what's happening there with losses.
So this was on this morning's Nothing Personal, which you can find wherever you find your podcast. But I would like to tell you that when Oprah gives a car to somebody, they've got to pay taxes on the car, then they have to pay insurance, then they have to get it serviced. So sometimes people look at that and say, well, wait a minute, that was a nice gift, but I can't even
Get to the
afford
point, Samson!
keep it. Dave Portnoy got a business back for $1, but has to run it, and it's losing money. Penn was paying the losses every year. Now they're not. Now Portnoy has to pay the losses, and he doesn't want to, so he's got to cut expenses, and the way to cut expenses is to cut payroll, whether it's players or employees. In this case, it's employees. So he is cutting expenses because he does not want to write checks.
This, though, is one of the most unique media stories in the history of sports media. This thing climbing out of the ground to become this kind of business as a business that is antithetical to what the rest of media is doing, different from what the rest of mainstream media was doing. Can you explain to me why it is that this is so expensive? Can you explain to me how it is Barstool can buy bowl games and Portnoy can gamble tens of thousands of dollars and have all the money in the world, and now it becomes so expensive that it's unmanageable? Like, why are the losses that large? I know content's expensive. I didn't know it was that expensive.
Well, when you can borrow money in the capital markets, then when you lose money, you can pretend that you're not really losing money because all you're doing is building debt on the company side. But once you run out of availability to borrow, and then you've got to actually sell your own assets to raise cash to pay losses, it's a totally different ballgame. And that's where Portnoy must be, or where he's headed, and doesn't want to go there. And he's got tremendous overhead. He's got a tremendous number of employees. As you know, it's expensive to have employees. And if you at Meadowlark had to write checks for more than Chris or for more than who you're not anymore. But in the beginning, for many people, you would have not done it for an extended period of time. And you would have had no choice but to make hard decisions about who was going to stay and who was going to go. And then you were able to turn your company around and make it profitable. But Portnoy has not been able to do that. And that's what he's going to effort to do starting right now.
What is the movie that you're reviewing for us this week?
I was up all night last night, bad night. And in the middle of the night, I watched all 4 parts of a movie called Live to 100, The Secrets of the Blue Zones. This is a movie, when I saw the title, it came out on Netflix. It's a limited series. I said to myself, what a great idea. I'm sure that by never sleeping, I have a good chance of living to 100. Let me see if there are any secrets. So this guy has spent 20 years trying to find places where people don't die. And there's a ton of 100-year-olds and what makes it happen. And all I learned is you have to eat well, you have to have zero stress, you have to have absolute perfect environment, and then most of you can live a long time, but we're not going to put in the documentary the people who die young of disease. So I spent 4 hours during the course of my night from 12:22 till whenever I sent the text on some subjects, watching, and it turns out that I have the same opportunity of dying young as I did before, and it pissed me off. So don't watch this limited series because you're going to think that it will help you live long, but it won't.
David, I can't tell from here, but is that a David Sampson merch hat behind you to the right of you at davidsampsonpodcast.com that you can get right now?
I love you, man. Love you.
Before we get out of here, we got less than 30 seconds left. Just tell people what it is that you're training for and how it is that they can help if they want to help you.
I'm training to run for 48 hours. I'm going to do a challenge where you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. And I'm doing it to raise money for Parkinson's because my best friend has Parkinson's and he needs a cure or else he's going to have a big problem. And so it is a challenge that is not going to be easy, starting at 10 a.m. on September 22nd. And I will be sending out all over social media links as raising money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation because there's a lot of people who need a cure, and I can run 48 hours if it means a cure.
Also, not the way to live till 100.
I can't believe it, man. The day has finally arrived.
It's crazy.
We've been talking about this for nearly 40 years.
It seems like it. It seems like it's being underreported in the press. I'm surprised that everyone's not breaking into coverage all over, not just sports media, everywhere in media, to announce that there has been an end of the internet moment on we can stop discussing this now. The debate is finally settled.
We have reached the end of the rainbow. Shocking.
It has been crazy to watch. I mean, you might not even know this because this predates you. It doesn't predate people who have been with the show since the beginning, but long before, who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan? There was who's better, Marino or Montana? And on this historic day, even though he's playing hurt, he's having a lot of mouth surgery, he is having a lot of trouble with everything that's happened inside of his mouth, Stugotz is here to celebrate with us and discuss, because he's the nation's foremost expert on Marino versus Montana. Who's the better quarterback? Stugotz, what was your reaction to the news? I think it was TMZ that broke it. Should win a Pulitzer. Joe Montana talking directly to Tom Brady. Sorry, Tom Brady, you're not the best ever. Marino is the best ever. Dan Marino is the best ever. It's over, Stugotz. That's right, Roy. I can't believe it.
What a day.
It's over. Is this going to happen 30 years from now with LeBron and Michael, or is that one already over too?
Michael will never concede because Michael knows he's the greatest. Nothing's over till I say it's over, Dan. Montana is wrong, okay?
What?
Montana is flatly wrong. I don't care that it's Joe Montana with an opinion on Joe Montana. The opinion of himself and Dan Marino and Tom Brady is wrong, okay? Brady is the greatest of all time. Montana was better than Marino. The debate lives on. How about that?
No, but Roy, I can't.
We're back.
I can't. Wait a minute.
back.
I can't. Roy and I were stunned because the debate was over. What do you mean the debate isn't over?
Montana's wrong. I mean, Joe, listen, he's clearly being Joe Humble, okay? Like, give me a break. He really thinks Marino, the tiny little wide receivers, Clayton and Duper, they're Hall of Famers. What is he talking about? Seriously. Montana has 4 rings, okay? Let's do rings plus minus, Dan. Put Montana. Tell Joe to do this. Put his rings in a box, put Marino's rings in a box, and tell me who has more. It's Joe. Then do it with Brady. Put his in 2 boxes because you need it, and put Joe's in 1. And who wins? Tom Brady.
Is that a bag of peas on the side of your face? What vegetable is that? Is that fruit on the side of your face?
What I've run out of ice, Dan, so it is frozen peas from Publix on my face, and I'm holding it together with one of those stimulating belts that you put over your stomach.
So you can
and I
get
hope it doesn't turn on right now. But one of those stimulators that, while you're sitting on the couch for 17 hours watching football, you get a 6-pack of abs. How about that?
Wait a minute.
It legitimately is one of those.
It is, look.
Hold on, because many years ago there was the original, I think it's like one of the original commercials where somebody gets like a cannonball shot into their stomach because they're doing exercise that is an exercise on a machine that's just sort of vibrating and jiggling their love handles. You have one of those, and it seems like the 2023 version, they're still selling those as way to get abs without doing any ab exercises.
Yes, I got this in the mail from Amazon like 2.5 weeks ago. I mean...
Putting it to use already.
But
paying
wait,
dividends.
Take me through the advertising, how you bought it. I understand that sometimes you take all sorts of shortcuts. If you're in physical pain, you just get an epidural. But now you're bypassing ab work by just getting this stupid belt that doesn't work?
Yeah, the way they sold it to me was, listen, sit on your couch for as long as you want. Just put this belt on, and when you get up, you'll have a 6-pack of abs. And so I bought it. It's the 3rd one I purchased, and none of them have worked, but I'm thinking this might be the time.
Are you underwater right now?
You sound like you're gargling a little bit. You do sound. Is everything okay?
Yeah, no, everything is fine. I mean, I have a bag of ice. I have a bag of frozen peas over my mouth. What do you want? I mean, what am I supposed to sound like?
Stugotz is going to invent a new affliction called the wettest socket, where he has to go in because his mouth is just too wet. There's just too much back there.
You are denying for us then the finality. You're here to declare that my declaration and Montana's declaration that Montana and Marino is over, that it's not over, it'll never be over. You will never allow it to be over. Or it is over, it's Tom Brady. Or it is over,
Yeah, no, it's Brady, Dan. Montana's wrong. I mean, and why would we ask Joe Montana? Like, why is that? Don't ask Joe Montana. He's not going to give you the answer that you want. And there is no answer. That's the point. If Montana said it was him, I'd say it's Marino. The debate lives on. If Montana said it's Marino, which he did, I'd tell you he's wrong. The debate will live on forever. The debate will never end, Dan. At some point in time, two guys in that shipping container, or maybe Jess and one of the guys in the shipping container, or maybe Jess and Lucy will be hosting the show, and it won't be me and you, and they'll still be debating Marino or Montana. How about that?
I'm with Stugotz. Montana is the greatest. Tom Brady, he's not part of the conversation. He was part of that terrible 80 for Brady movie. It immediately disqualifies him. Montana, Marino, Pittsburgh guy, Brady third.
Montana was part of that terrible Rudy movie.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was. He was a quarterback on the team with Rudy.
I don't think he liked it, though.
No, he didn't.
I don't think, though, that
is
you
that a
could
plus
be.
or a minus?
You say you're with Stugotz, but you have said something different than Stugotz. Stugotz says.
I'm with him. The debate's not over, Dan.
Okay, you're with him on that part. Didn't you just meet Montana?
Well, we didn't necessarily meet, but Montana.
Tony Montana?
Montana, that's exactly what's going on.
Happened.
He was at the game in Ireland. He reps Guinness, Dan. So it was a very exciting time for all of us in the Notre Dame family on Saturday.
I made
I
him
parry
Latin.
those cockroaches.
I made him Latin.
Dan, you could say, damn, Zaddy, all my Irish eyes were smiling.
Stugotz, thank you for playing hurt. We appreciate it, although I do not appreciate that you've denied me the ability to say that this debate is over for all time.
You see the flex he has going in the top corner over there? You guys notice that? The
lacrosse championship.
This whole thing, this whole NCAA national championship thing? Oh.
Yeah. I'm not certain I'm supposed to have that, to be quite honest with you.
Very excited to see you on Tuesday next week with a pair of abs on your cheek.
Chiseled.
I would love to go on a tour of your house where you just showed us things you're not sure you're supposed to have that just represent symbolic theft.
Well, as I look to my right, Dan, I
The
actually
fine
see I
bucket?
have one of those ab rollers. Not the roller, the actual. Here, let me get it for you. Okay, hold on one second. I'll be right back.
No,
I
there's
have a
no
bag of
way.
peas on my ice.
There's no way he has one of those, the things where you're supposed to get on your knees.
I think he had a body by
He
Jake
said he
at
used to
one
do
point.
it every day, right?
I think so. I
I have
think.
one of these.
No, come on, man.
I
You've
would
never
love to
used
see
that.
you try to do
Can
that.
we
never
see you?
use that.
Is it possible for us to try and see
Supposed
you
to be
do
easier
that?
on the back. I haven't used it yet. I got it a month and a half ago.
There's no chance
That
you're
is
ever gonna
really
use it.
hard to do. That is not easy to
It's
do. I
not at all easy on the back.
That's why I got the belt.
Thank you. We appreciate, Stugotz, that you've again not given us the ability to formally end a debate because the debate will live forever. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
One of the things that has been a source of constant criticism around here.
Solid transition out of that interview by you guys. Okay.
He's still there?
Tony Montana. Okay.
Can I apologize for the okay?
Would you like to try and get a better dismount than that one you've got on your
Okay.
head? You've got an
Playing in pain, Dan. I mean,
you've got an ab belt on. You're on medication. You've got a bag of frozen peas on your cheek, and usually because you're a radio veteran and a very polished person when it comes to knowing how broadcasting is supposed to work, even
Since when?
if you can't execute it, he knows how to dismount a segment.
I do. Dan's right. That's the worst dismount I've ever had, Mike. You know that.
Okay.
Okay.
The Pabst Blue Ribbon T-shirt is also a nice touch.
It would be awesome if you had a Miller Lite
That'd be
T-shirt
way
somewhere
better.
hanging around.
Absolutely.
You know what
I mean, 2 minutes.
Yeah, get out of
Get
here.
out of
Go
here.
ahead,
I mean,
You gotta know better, man.
I forget who.
Thank
Come
you.
on. You
thank
forget?
You forget.
How could you forget? The great taste of Miller Lite.
Only 96 calories.
And 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving.
Thank you for all your help there, Amin. We appreciate all your good work. Always love when we do that to the sponsors. The thing that I was saying about the debate and the debate never ending because many people around here have an assortment of complaints of how obsessed I've been recently, and it's probably fair criticism, with everything happening with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and debate culture, at least in part because Stephen A. Smith won't shut up about it, and he's come off vacation 3 times to defend himself and the company and debate culture when I have said something, and he addressed it again a 4th time the other day. And yesterday I sat down for a 3-part documentary on debate culture that now Stephen A. Smith is doing as the pioneer of debate culture. And the person who was talking to me, interviewing me, I was saying to him, like, yeah, the sports argument in general was kind of hurt by, Google, the fact that you can just, look up whether you're right or wrong or not. And his answer was that no, you can't do that. It's not over. It'll never be over because they're just opinions. And I'm like, yes, but opinions should be formed, or at least we used to do it this way, by some foundation of facts. Like, you can go get the facts you need to make your opinion. And he's like, nah. Don't have to do it that way. The sports argument isn't over. We will always find a way to argue it because it doesn't matter what Joe Montana says. What the hell does he know? What is
He was wrong. Yeah.
Why are you still here?
What?
Didn't you already say goodbye poorly and cost us a sponsor with Amin's help? Didn't we already do that?
Yep.
All right. Thank you for all your good work. You want to try it again? You want to try a better dismount?
Sure.
Go ahead.
We'll say goodbye.
See you later, Stugotz. Thanks for all your contributions. We'll see you on God Bless Football.
All right.
Feel better, get better. Inter Miami did not win last night, did not lose, has not lost with Messi yet. We were talking yesterday because this story to me is fascinating. An international superstar has come over here to make soccer matter in America, has done it in our city, which is really good at this particular thing. If you never lose, we'll love you forever. If you are the best and keep being the best, we are a great bandwagon town. And this town cares about, I would say, soccer differently than almost any place in the United States. I think I can say that because
How so? What do you mean different?
Oh, it's just so I believe Dade County is still the only county in America, or one of the few, that is more than 50% a minority. It is a majority, and the Hispanic, it's a lot of different Hispanic cultures, and so it's not just where Americans are interested in soccer, but Latin America, our city, you have a lot of people here, who don't speak English, who just don't speak English, and I see them all over the place wearing the Messi jerseys. And as he tries, and Apple tries, and MLS tries to make soccer a bigger sport here, I don't think of a better way that you can do it than get the biggest star in the world, have him scoring a bunch of goals, and have him playing games that are interesting even when they're 0-0 like yesterday's was.
Yeah, it's clear that you spent your time away just watching the Rays, and you missed some really exciting Lionel Messi matches. But in trying to welcome everybody aboard, and one of the things that I've noticed down here, people are asking for the games at sports bars. You would never be able to watch it in Miami at a sports bar, really, unless it was a branded event. People are asking for sound on in the sports bars. It's pretty wild to see the community really rally around this huge event. But in welcoming everybody in, they got on board with the Leagues Cup, which is a brand new competition, and every time they looked at the standings, they were very confused. Wait, how are they winning this, but they're last place? And you try to explain U.S. Open Cup the same exact way. They're in the final of that. That'll be on September 27th. That's also confusing to folks. The only thing that the new people to the sport here in the States are really understanding is the MLS standings, to which Inter Miami were at the very bottom of when Messi came aboard. So last time was his second ever MLS regular season game. It was his first ever MLS home match, and it was a scoreless draw against a really good Nashville team that drew Miami in the Leagues Cup final, has the largest soccer-specific stadium in the United States, a great team, and I thought they played masterful defense. Masterful. There was nothing available to Inter Miami direct. They were man-marking Messi with three guys, and Miami, for whatever reason, couldn't get it outside. Miami was actually fortunate to get the point. But if you look at the standings right now, they're second from the bottom. They did get some help yesterday, but when you consider that this team has an international break that they have to deal with, and players that aren't Messi got called into their national teams. Martinez, Crema, Drake Callender, the goalie that became a star in the Leagues Cup final. It's going to be hard to navigate. There's three matches being played during that international window where they won't have the likes of Messi. And from what I can gather, it seems as though people new to the sport will say it's an epic disappointment if this team that Messi joins mid-season doesn't make the playoffs, and it's almost an insurmountable hole that they've dug themselves. But if they do it, then I think everyone can connect with that story.
Loved excuse making. Hey, how about that PK they didn't call?
It was offside. Yeah. So undone. Yeah, it was a handball. It looked to me like it was a handball. I was surprised by the VAR, but it turns out it was offside. So that's what happened there.
That dismissive sound, I don't think that's the way an argument should work on a large media forum where someone says something and the only response from the person on the other side is,
he sucked his teeth.
I knew what he meant, though.
Yeah, man, because everyone knows. Everyone knows that's an international sound of whatever.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I know you're a big Hani Mukhtar fan, the reigning MLS MVP. And Nashville's a great team, and I think that, look, throughout the Leagues Cup, they would tie teams. They had a 4-4 draw at FC Dallas. So it's not like they were just running through these teams. They ran into difficult opposition, but they would find a way to win it in either extra time or PKs. In the regular season, 90 minutes are up. You get a draw. You get 1 point from that.
180 minutes against Messi, and I don't know who's the best player between him and Mukhtar. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All this hullabaloo, all of this, you're not even the best player in MLS. How about that?
All this hullabaloo.
Marino Montana is over, but Mukhtar Messi is back on.
They have not lost since he's been here, and I believe, I'm telling you, we are,
semantics.
As a bandwagon town, we are uniquely qualified to show up and care about, well, you came from last place, you added the best player in the world, and now you're trying to climb up the standings by never losing. We can support sports that way. That is the Miami sports fan. That's what, man, the obnoxious University of Miami football fan was born on. We win every home game for 5 straight years. We win all the time. You will not see us lose. Miami is only good in sports at that particular allegiance of give us the sparkly thing and we will front run with the best of them.
While we're on the topic of deflating you guys here, Dan, earlier you said that like Miami is the only city in America where it is a majority minority. Turns out
I didn't say that.
I
said one of the few. Dade County, one of the few. I said, and I also said it might not be true anymore. It was true once upon a time.
It was an answer in the New York Times crossword last week. Biggest majority Hispanic county in the U.S., Miami-Dade. I got it. So you're right.
14 out of 50 of the 15 biggest cities in America are majority minority. And as of 2015, 12% of all counties in America are majority minority.
So you believe Miami is not incredibly ethnic? You believe a lot of places are as ethnic as
Are you guys
Dade
having
County?
to move the goalpost off right now? What is happening?
We're doing
apologize
we're
to
doing
me.
U.S.
It was in the
Census.
crossword.
What I'm doing?
Are you saying we're not uniquely ethnic? That's what you're saying.
You're ethnic? You're not uniquely ethnic. No, it's not unique because turns out 14 other cities or 13 other cities in the top 15 have the same characteristics.
I'm good moving on, but I do think that the only thing that people new to the sport are really understanding and trying to explain it to them is the standings, because they can Google that. And it's going to be really impressive if they do find their way into the playoffs. And, beating Nashville would have been immense. Nashville's a very good team and very tough to break down defensively. And they only got 1 point. And like I said, they were fortunate to do so. But I think they got some help with the Montreal and Chicago results.
As of 2019, 6 states are majority minority. Florida's not one of them, though. Just throwing that out there. I know.
Dan didn't say that. Apologize, please.
I'm telling Dan because Dan sometimes gets caught up in how unique Miami is, and sometimes some of these things aren't that unique, Dan. I mean, they're true. It is a multicultural ethnic melting pot. It's just not that unique.
So go ahead and tell me all of the cities that you believe that would be ethnically diverse enough Hispanic-wise, because because culturally, soccer to Hispanics means slightly more, I would say, to the world than it does to Americans. So you tell me all of the cities and cultures that you believe. Like, name some of the cities that you believe would be more fervent about getting around winning in soccer than Miami is, because you have so many different nationalities down here that care about it.
New York, L.A., Houston, San Antonio, Chicago, Phoenix, Dallas.
Oh, my God.
Why are we doing this?
Stop you from talking.
It is time for a random topic, and the topic today is, when do you put your napkin on your lap at a fancy restaurant?
Time out. We're calling it a random topic?
I don't know why you did that. It's a Magic Crate of
Because
content.
we don't
have a crate.
All right, here we go. I'll grab a topic.
Where's the crate?
I think it's in Stugotz's house.
It's right there. I see it.
Here's the topic. I grabbed it.
This is not how we play this game. The Magic Crate of content has not been around here in a while.
We had to call a quick audible, Dan. This is us acting on our feet.
On our toes?
No, I think.
Was there a question?
What was the question again?
When at a fancy restaurant do you put your napkin on your lap? Do you do it right when you sit down or when the first piece of food arrives?
I usually do it after the waiter takes my menu. That's when I'll put it on my lap.
After you order, so before the food arrives?
Yes. Once the menu's off the table, napkin time.
For me, it's right when the first piece of food arrives. That's when the napkin goes on the lap.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I whip it out. I make a whole show of it. It's folded up. I whip it out. I like to put my napkin in a little triangle. Do you guys do this? You have a square napkin, turn it into a little triangle, and then I lay it on my lap.
A triangle?
No, what are you talking about?
I take the square napkin. I connect 2 corners, so now it's a triangle.
So now it's half as big as
why would
it
you
was
do that?
before.
because I don't need a blanket. I'm not trying to warm my legs. I
No,
just need a little napkin on my right leg.
It's not to keep you warm. It's to
That's why I make it
protect-
smaller.
It's to protect your pants.
No, it's for my hand. If my hand, I'm not like. For me, the napkin's on your right leg, and it's just if I need something to clean my hand with.
Am I misunderstanding what napkins are for?
I am also I think I'm misunderstanding it too. I thought it was to protect
your
You guys
clothes.
put it across your full lap. You guys put the napkin across your full lap,
Of
both
course.
legs.
Yes.
No, I always have mine
absolutely.
on my right leg.
On both
Right
legs.
leg.
I'm the only. Maybe I'm the only one.
I put it on both.
You-
What do you think a napkin is for, Chris?
It's just for like if I have like my hands get dirty, I can like rub. It's just so I'm not wiping my clothes. It's something to wipe
Messy
my hands
fingies?
with.
I've
That's
never
it?
put a napkin on my lap.
Never.
3 Americans, I guess.
Really?
I don't
Wow.
Wait, do you tuck it into your shirt too?
Neither nor. I'm an adult, so I don't spill things.
That's what I'm saying. This is not for. I'm not a child. The napkin is not on my lap for spilling. My napkin is just in case I need to clean my hand off.
If I'm at a steakhouse and they have a white napkin, I request a black one.
Ooh, nice, brother.
Why?
Because you
No
don't want to
way
make it
have
to
you
look
done
like...
this.
Yes, all the time.
Why?
Don't most restaurants just have one standard napkin?
No.
If you go to a steakhouse worth a damn, they either have the black napkins already out, or if they don't, you can request one and they'll bring a black
I've
one.
only ever seen this move like on TV. I've never seen a person do this in real life.
My dad does it.
I never get the cloth napkins they use. Disgusting. Everybody has used them.
Yes.
Wipe themselves and they put them in a washing machine or whatever. I always ask for a paper napkin and a straw with this wrapped up. Don't bring no straw to my table with your finger on it, boy.
You ordering straws?
Yes, you see me in action. I bring my own straw everywhere I go. Thank you, sir.
I order black straws.
Why the napkin color switch?
Because if you go to a place like a steakhouse, you're going to get sauce everywhere. You don't want to have that's unseemly. You have a napkin with sauce on your lap.
What, do you have sauce just flying out of everywhere?
It can't see your who's looking in your lap?
Guys, you're uncultured.
It's also if the white napkin can maybe rub off on black clothes.
I thought it was a clothes thing.
Yeah, I think it's a
Jer Bear.
clothes thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I
If
think
you
you're
have
trying
light
to walk
pants,
out of there look
white-
better.
Yeah.
I thought it was racism.